this and more in this week's Drive. Audi driver Matthias Ekstrom and Gary Paffert in his AMG Mercedes went into round 8 of the 11-race DTM series at Zandvoort, with the Swede holding a 1-point lead over the Briton in the championship. German Bernd Schneider, driving a Mercedes, was on pole for the 24th time in his DTM career. Swiss Marcel Fassler and former Formula One driver Heinz-Harald Frentzen were second and third on the grid in their Opel Vectras. Paffert and Ekstrom were fourth and fifth. Another former Formula One driver, Jean Alesi in a Mercedes, slid off the track trying to pass Alexandros Margaritis. Schneider made his first pit stop on lap 6. Despite starting on pole, the German finished the race in 8th place. Finland's double F1 world champion Mika Häkkinen was tapped and spun by Manuel Reuter on lap 9, and Reuter received a drive-through penalty as a result. Häkkinen finished 12th. After some brilliant pit work by his team, Paffert came out from his second stop on lap 19 of the 38-lap race and went into the lead in front of Ekstrom. Frentzen made his second pit stop on lap 22 and came out in front of his teammate Fassler to regain third place. Paffert finished 10.4 seconds ahead of Ekstrom, with Frentzen in third. 7 times Le Mans winner Tom Christensen of Denmark was fourth in his Audi. With the victory, Paffert now has an overall total of 60 points, one more than Ekstrom.
The team reacted very well with the pit stops. When Matthias came in, we came in the next lap, put some very good lap times in at the start, and the car was perfect all the way to the end. I didn't have to push hard, for the last 10, 15 laps.
The next race is at the Lausitzring in Germany. It was the 30th consecutive sellout for the NASCAR race at Michigan, a streak that goes back to June 1991. The track has 137,200 grandstand seats and holds about 160,000 spectators. Joe Nemechek had pole position at the 2-mile circuit, but was unable to hold the lead, losing it on the 5th lap. He regained it by lap 74 when bad luck struck. Nemechek lost his right front tyre, slamming into the wall at turn 3. He was able to continue and fought back up to 8th place. Soon after the race went green again, another yellow caution came out. On lap 82, Elliott Sadler lost control of his car after coming around turn 2 and hit the wall.
Left front hit a ton. My toe is knocked out a bunch. I had to go to the...
Stuart Kirby blew a tyre on lap 143. He lost control and drifted up into Travis Kvapil, ruining the front fender and blowing out the left front tyre. Much to the dismay of the fuel-conscious crews, that was the final caution of the day. Without any more yellow flags, the leaders were forced to pit at race speed and lose position. Jeremy Mayfield, who pitted during the caution, was able to stay out and took the lead for good on lap 194 when Tony Raines went to refuel. Mayfield ran the last 52 laps on a single tank of fuel and was able to watch as the leaders went to pit row one by one, leaving him alone in front with just 6 laps to go. He held on to win his first race since September 2004, a span of 32 events. Series points leader Tony Stewart, who came into the race with 5 wins in 7 starts, never led but finished 5th. With the victory, Mayfield jumped from 7th to 6th in the season's points race, moving ahead of reigning Cup champion Kurt Busch, with just 3 races remaining before the 10-race NASCAR playoffs begin. James Thompson started from pole position in race 1 of the World Touring Car Championship at Oschersleben. The Alfa Romeo driver was second quickest in qualifying, but started from the top spot as pace setter Jörg Muller dropped 10 places on the grid thanks to a penalty incurred in the previous round at Spa. Thompson was joined on the front row by teammate Augusto Farfus, with Andy Priaulx starting third in the BMW. Unusually, Thompson incurred a drive-through penalty before the race even started because his car was still on air jacks when the 3-minute board was shown. On lap 6, Thompson made his stop, handing the lead to Priaulx. Priaulx was never headed thereafter and crossed the finish line ahead of Sweden's Rickard Rydell, who held off the Muller duo for 7 laps. Alex Zanardi, who lost both legs in a race crash 4 years ago, started race 2 from pole due to the reversed grid. The former Formula One driver and twice kart champion lost both legs in a collision during a kart race at the Lausitzring. He walks and drives with the help of 2 artificial limbs and hand controls. On lap 2, Italian Fabrizio Giovanardi collided with Carl Rosenblatt of Sweden and crashed into the barriers. On the last lap, the 3 BMWs all pushed hard for the win. Zanardi led from Jörg Muller and Priaulx. Muller was in second place as he challenged Zanardi but ran wide and dropped to third. That promoted Priaulx into second, and Zanardi winning by less than a quarter of a second. Zanardi was racing a champ car at the Lausitzring, also in Germany, when he spun and was hit by Alex Tagliani at around 300 kilometers an hour. Zanardi's car was smashed in half and he was airlifted to hospital where surgeons amputated both legs. In 2003, he returned to Lausitzring, walking on prosthetic legs, and climbed into a specially adapted champ car to complete the 13 laps that he hadn't run in 2001. Rather than drive them as demonstration laps, Zanardi posted progressively faster and competitive times. He returned to racing in 2003 in European touring cars, which became the World Touring Cars this year. The IRL series arrived in Colorado, close to the famous Pikes Peak Marathon hill climb venue, and the race started under ideal conditions. Helio Castroneves started the race on pole position, but didn't hold the lead for long. His Team Penske teammate Sam Hornish took the top spot on lap 19. Hornish would have the lead for 71 laps, but lost it for good to Dario Franchitti on lap 95. The lone caution flag of the race came out on lap 80 when Australian Ryan Briscoe lost control of his car and slammed into the turn 4 wall. Franchitti cruised past the incident unharmed and held the lead until lap 153 when Dan Weldon passed him. Franchitti, who won the race in 2004, would get the lead back when Weldon pitted. Franchitti went to pit row on lap 164, but his car stalled on the way out.
It started to take off, so the clutch pedal was pretty soft, so obviously we had a problem with the clutch, and yet again a mechanical problem has taken us out of a race that I feel we had the car to win.
How tough is it to deal with these type of roller coaster emotions as a driver?
It gets really old.
Englishman Weldon, who won 4 of the first 5 races this season, cruised to his first victory since the Indianapolis 500. 5 wins has Weldon tying the IRL record held by Sam Hornish, who didn't have the pole position in any of the 5 races that he's won this season. Weldon is also well on his way to winning the points race. He leads the title chase with 505 points, 97 more than Hornish in second. Just 4 races remain in the IRL season, including 2 on road courses. Racing pair of Rob Lister and Will Knocker started round 7 of the Formula 4-stroke Powerboats Championship on 69 points, with a 12-point lead over the all-female crew of Shelley Jory and Libby Kier in Ray Marine. Third were Jack Glendenning and Simon Bucknell in warm-up with 47 points.
Points of Abraham, right-hand side, 10 foot out, Evans Heritage, right-hand side, 5 foot out, left a bit, left a bit.
Fatboy got off to a strong start on the Mersey in Liverpool, best known as the home of the Beatles, and moved into an early lead, battling with Evans Heritage driven by Rhys Evans.
Careful. This is going to be mighty tight.
At that stage, warm-up was back in 3rd place, the pair looking to build on their impressive performance in the previous race weekend in Plymouth. Mel Streak and Martin Marsh in Claygate Bathrooms had an eventful race, rolling the boat at the first turn on lap 1. However, both were checked over by the on-site medical team and declared fine. A short while later, the warm-up team of Glendenning and Bucknell continued their great form, overtook Evans to move into 2nd place. Also competitive at this stage was Honda Racing, driven by Phil Haynes, in a relatively safe, if lonely, 4th place. As the race progressed, the warm-up team found themselves a good rhythm, and after pushing hard to catch the leaders, eventually reeled in Fatboy Racing with some impressive speed. After pulling alongside Lister and Knocker, warm-up charged on past to grab the lead and never look back. There was a slight hiccup for warm-up with the finish line in sight. First, their communication system broke, so navigator Simon Bucknell was unable to feed information to driver Jack Glendinning. To make matters worse, then their trim lever broke, making it very difficult to control the boat. The trim lever adjusts the angle of the engine to the water and the elevation of the boat. In difficult conditions, it has to be adjusted constantly to keep the boat under control. But despite these difficulties, Warm-Up took their 2nd consecutive victory and pose a serious threat to Fatboy Racing and Ray Marine going into the final race weekend.
Together. It was quite a hairy race because it was getting a bit lumpy towards the end, and then we lost the comms for about 3 laps, and then I managed to snap the trim off. So we were trying to trim the boat. Simon was having to trim the boat by signs and navigate all sign language. So it was absolute chaos for about 3 laps. And then we got the comms going again, and the first thing I heard, they're right behind us, and pull it. And because I've been going back a bit, we nearly lost it at the far end, and thought we don't really want to turn it when we're in the lead. So I was easing back a bit. Without the comms and without the trim, it was pretty hairy, but we managed to just sneak over in front.
Did it, well done.
Despite being pushed hard by Honda Racing, reigning champion James Shepherd and Peter Kingsbury did enough to claim 3rd place in AccuCard. The next weekend of racing takes place in Guernsey. Renault Formula One Roadshow went to Moscow for an all-action city centre Formula One demonstration by drivers Fernando Alonso and Giancarlo Fisichella.
I win in some other categories, but Formula One is always the most special in motorsport racing, and I think this year any of the 6 victories I enjoy so much.
I'll have a chance last night to walk around a little bit. I went on the Red Square, and it's really impressive. I like Moscow.
Crowds estimated at more than 100,000 people gathered beneath the walls of the Kremlin to see the leaders in the 2005 World Championship in action. The Mild 7 Renault Formula One Team Grand Prix in Moscow began on the Moskva River with an aquabike display by the Russian champion before attention turned to the track. Rally driver Jean Ragnotti entertained the crowds with the Megane Trophy and the Clio RS before the F1 drivers took to the track to race specially prepared Megane Trophy cars. The afternoon ended with the main event, the Formula One demonstration. The crowds, which had been gathering since early morning, thrilled to the noise of the V10 engine as Fernando and Giancarlo completed 5 laps each of the city centre circuit in last year's race-winning R24, demonstrating the noise and spectacle of Formula One to amazed Muscovites. The drivers said that the success of the Renault Formula One team, currently leading the Constructors' Championship on 130 points ahead of McLaren with 121, was the result of the team's hard work and strategy over the last few years. Fernando Alonso, currently leading the World Championship with 95 points ahead of Kimi Raikkonen 71, said he was very happy to return to Moscow. The Renault F1 Team Grand Prix in Moscow was the second large Formula One show in Russia. The first, in October 2003, was also held by Renault near the Moscow State University and attracted more than 50,000 people. So far, the Renault F1 team have been the first and only Formula One team to demonstrate a real Formula One car in Russia. The Jordan team, now owned by the Russian-born head of the Midland Group, was launched there at the beginning of the year, but they didn't actually run the cars in the sub-zero temperatures. Rainy conditions ruled the 3rd and final day of the Rally of Malaysia in the southern state of Johor. The slippery going during the 5th stage of the 2005 Asia-Pacific Rally Championship took its toll on several drivers, including China's Fan Fan, who nearly ended his race on this turn, but kept in control. Fully in control was Japanese driver Toshi Arai and his Subaru. Arai and co-driver Tony Sercom were looking to gain on overall leader Jussi Valmaki, who sat out the Malaysia stage. Others on Arai's tail include a surprisingly good performance from the Malaysian team of Kan Chi Hong and Bernard Chin, who would eventually finish second in their Mitsubishi Lancer. Third place went to another Mitsubishi Lancer piloted by Jeff Argyle and co-driver Jane Black. But none could match Arai, who, despite dropping to third after day 2 when his gearbox needed to be replaced, roared back to take the lead and win the Rally of Malaysia on one of the Asia-Pacific Rally Championship's toughest courses. He finished 3 minutes and 52 seconds ahead of Hong and Chin, with Argyle and Black just 13 seconds further back. But the course kept both drivers and navigators on their toes.
Yes, because quite difficult because no natural road. Sometimes the big palm tree on both sides and many junction and not so natural road. So and also road is quite narrow.
We couldn't have asked for anything better. You know, Arai was really fast today and really couldn't catch him. He's in a league of his own. So we were just settling for second.
The victory moves the Subaru team to within 20 points of Valmaki with 3 more races to go on the calendar. Next up is the Rally of Indonesia. Rossi was looking for his 9th victory from 11 races this season when he lined up for the Czech MotoGP at the 5.4-kilometre Brno circuit. But the Yamaha rider had work to do after starting 4th on the grid. Sete Gibernau was on pole position after smashing the lap record in qualifying, and soon the Honda rider had Rossi and Marco Melandri on his tail. Rossi had grabbed the lead by the end of the first lap, but Gibernau stayed with him, and the pair became involved in a classic duel, with each rider taking turns in front. It wasn't until the penultimate lap that Rossi made the decisive move, skillfully cutting inside Gibernau. The hopes of a thrilling finish failed to materialise. Gibernau suddenly lost power on the last lap and was forced to the side of the track with a technical problem. Rossi went on to clinch yet another victory, with fellow Italians Loris Capirossi on a Ducati and Max Biaggi on a Honda taking second and third. The only man to ever win a MotoGP World Championship, he's won them all, boosted his points tally to 261 in the overall standings, a massive 132 points clear of Biaggi.
I know have a lot of fast rider, fast rhythm, but I think Gibernau was the hardest opponent. So I tried to put pressure on him, to stay with him and to fight with him, and sincerely was a great fight.
26-year-old Rossi can clinch his 5th consecutive MotoGP World crown with victory in the Japanese Grand Prix at Motegi. Earlier in the day, Spanish Honda rider Daniel Pedrosa won the 250cc race ahead of compatriot Jorge Lorenzo and Australia's Casey Stoner. Pedrosa moved ahead of pole sitter Lorenzo at the first corner, but behind them various incidents saw Hector Barbera and Yuki Takahashi colliding and crashing out, with Simone Corsi high-siding and forcing Sebastian Porto to run wide onto the grass. Reigning world champ Pedrosa pushed hard and posted a new lap record on his way to his 6th victory of the season. Thomas Luthi of Switzerland dominated the 125cc race, finishing ahead of Finland's Mika Kallio and Italy's Marco Simoncelli. Having qualified on pole, the Swiss youngster built an early lead before light rain made conditions tricky late in the race. Luthi claimed the 2nd Grand Prix win of his career, extending his title lead over Kallio to 8 points. Heavy rain during the week had threatened to spoil the Grand Prix of England, the 15th round of the 2005 Motocross World Championship. But fine weather over the weekend created near-perfect conditions for the riders at the Isle of Wight. In race 1, Belgium's Steve Ramon on bike 11 took an early lead, well clear of Frenchman Michael Pichon on the number 2 Honda. The chasing pack included New Zealand pair Joshua Coppins and Ben Townley. Coppins was looking to repeat his win here last year, the first of his Grand Prix career. Townley just got the better of Coppins and went on to finish 3rd in race 1, while Coppins took 4th. Belgium's Stefan Everts, world champion and championship leader, was 5th. Ramon never looked threatened on his KTM, going on to win comfortably from Pichon. A good day for the KTM team got even better in race 2 as the Isle of Wight was overrun by the orange bikes. This time it was Townley who grabbed the early lead, with Finland's Jussi Veiviläinen second on a Honda. Veiviläinen was making an impressive return after missing the last 3 rounds through injury. Townley looking comfortable out in front, Veiviläinen became involved in an epic battle with Everts, Coppins, Ramon and Pichon. Townley went on to win race 2 ahead of Coppins and Pichon. This win, combined with his 3rd placing in race 1, gave the New Zealander the overall victory on the day. Ramon provided KTM with a 1-2 finish, while Pichon was 3rd overall for Honda. Coppins had technical problems and missed the top 3 in the opening moto, but took his revenge in the second outing and came back from 5th to 2nd, sandwiched between Townley and Pichon. It was not enough to secure him a GP podium, but he regained 8 points over Stefan Everts, who was twice 5th. Everts still leads Coppins by 45 points with 2 more rounds to go. Townley's 3rd with 505. Tony Ricardson went into the Polish Grand Prix needing just 4 points to win the 6th world title of his career. Ricardson, denied the chance of wrapping up the title in front of his own Swedish fans at Malila, had his first outing in Heat 3 and collected 3 points for winning the heat. Starting on the inside, he led from the tapes and held off fellow Swede Andreas Jonsson, Jaroslav Hampel of Poland and Dane Hans Andersson. Ricardson, who had a run of reaching 11 finals in a row stretching back to last season, now needed just 1 point to reclaim the world title. In Heat 6, he faced home favourite Tomasz Golob, Denmark's Nicky Pedersen and Ryan Sullivan of Australia. Golob overtook Pedersen on the last lap and took the checkered flag, but the focus was on 3rd place, where 1 point was at stake. Going into the last bend, Sullivan was ahead, but the Swede squeezed past the Australian on the line to finish 3rd and claim the vital 1 point. The Polish crowd cheered a home victory, but there was enough Swedish fans to make themselves heard, and they were delighted with Ricardson's triumph. Ricardson went on a lap of honour to salute his fans, who travelled long distances to the race in the hopes that their hero would clinch the crown. Ricardson has had a record-breaking 2005 campaign, winning 5 of this year's 7 Grand Prix prior to this round and reaching all 7 finals. However, he was unable to maintain the momentum after achieving his ambition earlier in the night and failed to qualify for the semi-finals. The final itself was won by Tomasz Golob, the 4th time in succession the Pole has won his home Grand Prix. Lee Richardson of Britain finished 2nd with Crump in 3rd. The final Grand Prix of the season is in Italy. So whether you're out for a Sunday afternoon ride with some close friends, messing about in boats, or just out for a gentle spin, so you stay on track and up to speed, make sure you catch next week's Drive.